Hejsan! Verkligen.
Blogs and yaps, Yucca syndrome, cats and crafts, Yucca syndrome, tea and theater, Yucca syndrome, life in Sweden.
Hi, my name is Julka and welcome back to my channel where I talk about my life in Sweden and a bunch of other stuff. And today I'm going to talk about my experience with SFM, Svenska för medicinsk personal. I'm a dietitian from Poland and I moved to Sweden around 4 years ago to do my master's. Then I worked a little bit in research in academia, but I decided it was not for me. And then I wanted to go back to my nutrition roots. So here I am learning Swedish to get my license also in Sweden to be able to work here as a dietitian. And right now I'm halfway through my Swedish language journey, and I thought it's gonna be a good time to sit and talk a little bit about it, because when I was looking for information about SFM there was not so much from people who have learned Swedish like that, and I was interested. So in this video I'm going to talk about what is Svenska för medicinsk personal, how difficult it is, how effective I think it is, and how it's going for me so far. So välkommen! Okay, so first things first, what even is SFM? SFM is Svenska för medicinsk personal, which is intensive language course for people who have a medical background from other countries, so that they can learn language and become a medical professionals in Sweden, because a lot of medical professions in Sweden require a legitimation from Socialstyrelsen. So there's a lot of different professions, a lot of different people with professions that can use SFM, starting with dietitians, doctors, nurses, biomedical analytics, midwives, physiotherapists, and this is the whole list of the professions that can use SFM. Speaking from my experience, my class is was around from 32 till 37. Mostly it's nurses and then biomedical analytics, and then we have 2 or 3 of other professions. The goal of SFM is to reach C1 level proficiency to be able to get the license from Socialstyrelsen, because that's the requirement. And the course can take from 1.5 years to shorter, depends what's your starting point. Because, for example, myself, I started already knowing a little bit of Swedish, and then I started from the SFD level, and I'm gonna put here like the whole road that you can do. And I already finished SFD, Svenska som andraspråk delkurs 3 och 4, and I have Svenska som andraspråk 1, 2, 3 left, and then that's hopefully is gonna be enough for me to be able to speak Swedish on C1 level. And I think it's gonna be, because I already feel like my Swedish have skyrocketed. The course is an intensive full-time course, and we have classes every day. The schedule usually looks like that half of the day you have classes and half of the day you have some self-study time. We have the basic Swedish course, and then we have Svenska, which is like profession Swedish, and there we learn some medical phrases, how to talk with patients. We learn about the Swedish documentation system that works in the healthcare, how to take notes, how to use it efficiently, some abbreviations, stuff like this. Even though the course is quite expensive, I managed to work part-time on the side on the weekends or in the evenings, so I can have CSN and some extra money. And CSN is a stipend from the Swedish government. Before I started SFM, I've heard that a lot depends on the teacher that you get, and if you get a good teacher, great. If you get a bit worse teacher, that you're gonna need to work a little bit more by yourself. I was lucky enough that both of my teachers, because I had one teacher from SFID and one teacher from the del curs 3 Akvira, both of my teachers were super nice, very helpful, very passionate about teaching. It looked like they really liked people also, which sometimes it's not common for teachers. They were good in explaining stuff. They were good in noticing what the class as a whole need to work more on, and it was just very nice. During every course we read one Swedish book. We started from Lättläst Svenska böcker, which is like an easy read Swedish when the book is written using some more simple language. And then the next courses we read a little bit more normal books. And one course lasts 8 weeks, so I think it's a good time to read a book in other language, because it takes a little bit more time compared to reading in English or in my native language. We used different books. First we used Svenska, and then we used Portal or something. I don't know, I'm gonna put the cover here, and then for the next course we're gonna use this book. And the books are really nice actually. I like both the Svenska and this I don't know yet. And the latest book, it had a really nice thing when in the first text it would introduce some words that they would be translated on the side, and then in the next text the words would be repeated, so you kind of have to memorize the words, and when you see them more often you can actually remember them. So that was nice. We read, we talk a lot. There's quite a lot of emphasis on trying to speak, not only in the class, but the teacher also encourages us to speak wherever we have a chance. If we have somebody that we know in Swedish, a partner, a friend or something, they always try to push people to talk Swedish. We have some presentation in Swedish, some group works. During the class there's always a moment that you have to sit in a group and discuss with other people. Usually 1 day a week we have remote classes, and during those classes we also have to talk with each other. So that's also nice, I think, because sometimes it might be a bit more difficult to understand somebody through a meeting online. We watch some stuff together, we listen to some stuff together, we do a lot of different stuff, and I think the classes are quite varied. We also have the medical Swedish, which is not split into different professions. So for example, me as a dietitian, I don't have nutrition Swedish or something like this. We have just like a general Swedish where we learn about body parts, anatomy parts, how do you call different movements of the body. This is more, I think, for physiotherapists or maybe doctors, when you have to, oh, it hurts me here, okay, can you do this or this or this? And also what's really nice, I think, is that the school tries to provide us with some connections already. So for example, me as a dietitian, and other dietitians from my school, we had a meeting. We went to a hospital, to the department of dietitians, because it's a big hospital and there was something like this. Usually it's more like one dietitian for a department. And we had a meeting with those dietitians. They explained for us how the system works, how they structure their work, what kind of patients they get, and stuff like this. So it was a very nice experience also to listen to somebody who was learning through SFM before, because one of the dietitians there was like this. And it was just nice to see that you can actually learn Swedish through SFM and then find a work as a dietitian. What do I think is the most difficult thing in Swedish at this point? Well, I think it's difficult when the native speakers talk and they speak very fast and I don't understand them. So that's one thing. And the second thing is definitely that I have a language barrier. That's what it's called. When I feel a bit shy, I feel a bit insecure about my Swedish and stuff like this. But I think this will pass with time, and I just need more experience. I just need more exposure, and it's gonna be okay. And I know that I don't speak perfect English either right now, and I have no problem with speaking English. So I hope it's gonna come like this, that I'm gonna be like this in Swedish as well. In general, I think Swedish is not a very difficult language. If you like the grammar, for example, it's a bit easier compared to English. One thing that's sometimes a bit like difficult is the obestämt och bestämt form, and then the plural of ett words. Yeah, that's something that's sometimes difficult, but again, I think it comes with time, and then it's gonna be just better and better. I can tell that I understand way more already than I did at the beginning, because if I see an advertisement and I read it, I understand it. If I eavesdrop to people in train, I understand 90% or 80% of what they're saying. If I read a book in Swedish, I understand I don't understand every single word. There are some words, maybe like 5 words per page that I don't understand, but I'm still able to understand the whole context of the book. And for example, right now I'm reading Harry Potter och Vises sten, which is the first part, the philosophical stone in English. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit about how the studying really looks like. As I already said about how the course look like, how the schedule look like, what kind of books we use, that's one thing. And then studying on your own, it's also a very difficult, important part of the course, because you have to put some work by yourself. I feel like the biggest, the most important thing in language is knowing a lot of vocabulary, especially since the grammar is pretty straightforward. Of course, there are some probably more advanced stuff in grammar that I don't know yet, but I think this will come with time. So my main focus is on vocabulary and on understanding spoken Swedish. So I try to watch a lot of YouTube videos. I watch news in Swedish sometimes. I try to listen to podcasts, but it's not really a thing that I do in any other language, so I don't do that much. I also sometimes watch Swedish TV shows, and to memorize the words, I use flashcards Anki, that's what it's called, app, where you can create your own flashcards, and then they would be repeated to you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Depends if you remember the word from the flashcard. So I think it's pretty efficient, and I'm not always very efficient in doing it every day, but I'm trying, and I feel like it actually works. I very often also use AI. I know it's not so good, but I use AI not in a stupid way. I try to use it in a smart way. So I would ask AI, how do I use this word? What's the context, to understand better? Because sometimes if you just put the word through Google Translate, it would give you a very generic translation, and then you don't really know how to use it exactly. And I feel like when you know the context, it's a bit easier to remember that. So that's something that I do as well. And my partner is Swedish, so we try to speak a little bit every day. and I try to, whenever I go somewhere, to a restaurant or even at work, I'm trying to speak Swedish. Not every Swedish person wants to speak Swedish with me because that's the thing with Swedish people, that they are, and everybody will tell you that they are so nice, and everybody knows English, that they don't want to be a bother. They don't want you to try to make too big of an effort of speaking Swedish, and they just switch to English. But just don't care about that, and you go with the Swedish. What next? So as I said before, I still have 3 courses left. So I'm gonna finish in March. We have now beginning of August. I'm starting my classes in the middle of August, and I'm gonna finish the next 3 courses in March, and then I'm gonna try to find a job. Hopefully I will be able to find something. But I need to apply to get my diploma from Poland translated to Swedish, I need to get my legitimization here, and you do that through applying to Socialstyrelsen, but I don't know how to do that yet. So when I know how to do that, I'm gonna probably record another video. And because Poland is in European Union, I don't need to make a kunskapsprovet, which is like a test for people from outside Europe, from people with education from outside Europe, which is you have to pass it to get the legitimization if you're outside of from EU. Just make sure that the level of education is equal. So I'm in a very privileged position. Yeah, and what's also happening in our school, I'm not sure if this is happening in all of the school, but we get a placement for either a day or a few days in some healthcare facility to shadow a professional. So for example, in my case, a dietician, to see how they work and stuff like this. And I've heard that sometimes people also get hired afterwards in the places that they were placed, because there is some demand for medical healthcare professionals. I think this is all on my side. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like, subscription, comment, whatever you want. If you have any further questions, please welcome into the comment section as well. I can record some more videos. I will probably record some more updates after I'm done, or I don't know, at some point. And I don't know, should I talk some Swedish? Kanske? Jag skulle prata lite svenska nu, för att visa att jag kan faktiskt prata lite svenska. Så idag ska jag åka till Polen. Jag ska flyga, kan man säga? Flyga, kanske. Till Gdańsk, eftersom min familj bor i Gdańsk, och jag ska vara där för 2 veckor för bara chilla, kan man säga. Ja, och här jag har en symaskin, och jag har inte börjat, eller jag har börjat att sy någonting, men jag har sytt flera liten saker. Men jag har köpt en mönster, så en vintage mönster, så jag ska försöka att sy byxor och shirt. Ja. Min kompis och jag, vi gjorde Sormlandsleden förra veckan. Sormlandsleden är en led som börjar i Stockholm och den här kanske 1000 kilometer, men vi gör det ungefär 40 kilometer eftersom min vän har inte hajkat före, så hon ville prova. Och vi ska gå igen kanske nästa år för lite längre led på något annat ställe. Kanske i Polen, kanske i Storbritannien, kanske Spanien. Ja, vi vet inte. Men ja. Och det var jätteroligt att sova i, hur man säger, en tent. Tält. Så vi sover i en tält. Och vi åt lunch bredvid sjön. Och det var väldigt, väldigt vackert. Och jag har badat, simmat i sjön. Och det var väldigt, väldigt skönt. Okej, det är kanske allt. Jag vet inte vad mer kan jag prata om. Ja, vi ses nästa gång. Hej då. Det är en anka. Hej då.